Hello and welcome to the Craftsman Show. My name is your host, the Craftsman. In today's video, we about to talk about resin casting. How that you can make your own action figure from a resin that's durable, has ball joints, can be played with, have accessory, anything that you can imagine that you can do, you can do it. This is what it looks like when I'm in the middle of casting, mold making, all that stuff. As you can see, our little friend here, we got him all sort of laid out there. Got some other little things going on that I'm going to talk with y'all about. So as they say on YouTube, let's get right into it. One thing I like to do is to keep me on hand always some dump molds, alright? Because when you pouring up your resin figure, let's say you just making your little character or something, and you got your little bit of resin left in your cup, then you have something you could just dump it into, like these little buttons and things like that. And so your leftover resin does not get wasted. In my case, I'm thinking I might embed a magnet in this while it's curing, you know what I'm saying? And there's ways to do that that's pretty easy. I like that color right there. And I did these with my favorite flexible resin, right there, Flex-It 90. And these particular ones are kind of rubbery. I like that. Keep you some little dump molds on hand like that for your extra resin, so you always can just have something to dump that resin into. All right. So I made me one of these. Actually, let me see. I think that was the last time I printed on my Anycubic photon. I had done gotten kind of spoiled on using the Elegoo Mars, you know, so that's what I've been really printing on. I moved that head up and kind of changed the proportions a little bit to make it more like a human character. And so, but I realized a couple days ago, I said, you know, I was keeping the pixels, the units, you know what I'm saying? So 1 pixel that way is also 1 pixel that way. But I said, you know, that ain't going to stand up. So it hit me a couple days ago, why don't I just go ahead and boom, and I did that. Look at this. Well, I done got him glued up into his mold box, but you can see the thicknessity of that. It's going to be able to, there you go, it's going to be able to stand up on its own. And so I'm really excited about this, but I've got this ready because when I go to pour my silicone for my little character here, we're going to see more about that. But when I go to do my little man character, then I can just go ahead and pour that up too. So I always have you a couple molds and things ready. I may not do it out of a flexible. I think I'm going to save my flexible resin. There it goes. I think I'm going to save my flexible resin for my little man right here. And I'll show you why in a minute. But anyway, different things going on instead of crafting workshop. Very special thank you to Glitch Artwork for that steady blasting sticker over there. See that? And for sending me this right here. Look at this. That's crazy. Thank you to Glitch Artwork for that right there. So when we left off last time in the video, it had something like this going on. He just had kind of a blank, you know, chest. And I wanted to, before I pulled the trigger on that video, I wanted to go ahead and have it all finalized so I could hit y'all with the video, sketch the sculpt, and it's the whole 9 yards done and all. But as you remember, things kind of went a little different direction. All the stuff that I had sculpted, you know, I wound up just using Sculpey. And it was just very freeing and very fun, very, I just really liked the results I ended up getting with the Sculpey. Them rounded features, it's got that handmade feel to it. But I didn't have my chest figured out. So I was at the kitchen table and I drew this up and I said, all right, what am I going to do? Instead of drawing things over and over and over, I want to show y'all a little trick that y'all probably already know about, but this is something that I do sometimes. I go ahead and take my character like this, All right. And see, that's our little friend now. And I just cut him out in Photoshop and printed it out like that right there. And so then I took and just drew me out some ideas. See that? I was debating on just letting it be like, you know, a bandolier, some straps like that, and just making that a rubber accessory. But then, you know, I get carried away and I do things that's too, you know, too much involved in doing it. You know what I'm saying? Them little pieces like that is the one thing that can set back the whole production. So, you know, for example, on the free range chicken, I had to extrude every single one of the little flexible rubber hoses that connect the rocket pack to the chicken's control panel on the front. That thing right there. I had to color the silicone and extrude it, and, you know, do all that. So, and then when you get to talking about making a rubber strap or something like that, that's even more difficult because you're looking at a two-part mold. I just said I'm going to mold it right up onto it. And so that's what I did. And what's neat about that is I was able to use me some Apoxie Sculpt. So, you know, that's the face. I did some little details on the back. Got him some little bumpy bumps, you know, cause he's a frog, you know. And then on one of these hands right there, I got me a little detail like that. See? And that's just some kind of little detail strap right there. And so what it's supposed to be, this kind of like an accessory, you know, strap to connect to the belt. But as you can see, he got two pockets on there. And, you know, one of them's like popped off. I like to think of it as functional. You see what I'm saying? Like you could attach things to it, or the character could attach things to it. And then, you know, it comes down in the back like that. And then I went ahead on this, and I left me a flat spot back there. See, that's flat. And I did that flat spot because I knew I was going to want to add me something. And so he got a little back pouch right there. And it's just a long back pouch. And so, yeah, so that's what that is. And then all this designed to sort of, you know, fit together. Just about like that. I experimented with ball joints. I said, based on the size of the arms, I give me something that is about the right size to model my ball joints after. And I went and found me little characters and things that's got a comparable, you know. So I started playing around with these ball joints and stuff and studying on, you know, the depth of, it ain't got to be across a full circle because you don't want it to be skinny. You know, you don't want your ball joint to be like that right there. You want it to be something about like that right there, I think, you know. And then your other piece can just pop on to that. So So how am I going to mold this? That's where I'm at right now. What I usually like to do is take me a lid or something and just make me you know, so that would be the pour spout right there. You can either do a vent that comes up, or you can kind of orientate it so that the bubbles come up and don't get trapped. I mean, There's so many ways you can do it. You can let's see, pretend like that is your mold. So that's your silicone mold right there. When you pour your resin into it, anywhere like right there, see that little bump out right there is going to be a place where you might catch a bubble. Bubble might get caught up in that little corner right there. There's a chance maybe it could get one down in there, but it hopefully would slip on out. Probably that bubble will go and then get boom, caught right there. So what you can do is add you some vents, and you can literally do that with a toothpick. Alright, so that means when you're making your mold, your spout would be glued right there, and then you would attach you a little toothpick to wherever you want that vent to be, and that would allow the air to come, because that becomes a skinny little air vent in your mold once you take the toothpick out. All these little different things I'm considering. I mean, this mold right there is going to be pretty easy. He's glued in there. I just pour the mold up over the top of him, and this going to be actually a bona fide, you know, just this own character right there. And I'm thinking about releasing that in a header card with a bag, you know, and doing some really neat design, Atari inspired looking. So I got some colors in mind for this. I put me a little mold release all up inside this. That way, you know, I could just pop these silicone molds out after it's cured, so I can keep reusing this little index card holder plastic instead of having to tear it up. The goal is to have it to where, you know, these joints can pop in. I can't actually test it right now. I gotta wait till I get me a rubber cast made with Flex-It 90, but then I should be able to just pop it in there, and then, you know, we get us some little movements. And I want it to be quirky because it's going to look funny. See, it's going to look really, to me, it's going to be comical. The whole character is kind of comical anyway, but I want it to be, you know, to where he can move a little bit. I started to come out with a big round piece on the front so that when he turns his head, this would line up and this would line up. See how that sticks out? And that bothered me for a little while, but I said, you know what? I'm thinking too much about it. I'm just going to have it, you know, you turn his head slightly. Look at this. What's that? He don't turn his head a lot anyway. You know what I mean? He living a different life anyway. He ain't gonna be looking too far back, you know. Craftsman, how much silicone do I need to mix up for any particular object like that for a mold? Well, if you want to mix up some silicone and you don't want to waste any of it, I'm going to be honest, I just eyeball it most of the time. Now, some people will tell you all you got to do is fill up your mold with water, dump the water out, and that's how much silicone you need. However, I have never been a fan of that method, and that's how come I have never mentioned it, because any of them leftover water droplets will become a negative void in your silicone. This is what I would do. I would actually just use mold release instead of water. I would dump the mold release into this, all right, and then dump that into a cup. It's the same thing. You know, you get your same exact measurement. Then you could just dump that back into the container of mold release. The point is, it's a win-win because all you have done was put mold release everywhere. And it's going to cure faster. It's got some solvents and things in it that's going to make it dry up, instead of having water droplets all tucked around, you know. So my next big task is to make a mold of this gentleman right here. I guess there's just nothing to it but to do it. Alright, so I got the molds ready, and I'm going to mix up some silicone, and I'm probably going to have to do this in 2 passes just because my cup is that big, and I got to put it in my vacuum chamber to pull a vacuum on it. and that way I can pressure cast these molds later on. And if me talking about pressure casting, vacuum pump, all that stuff does not make sense, then please check out my video about the difference between all of that and what it is good for. Let's get with it. Hopefully that stays standing up like it is when we go to pour it. I'm not too worried about whipping it because, you know, it's going to be put in my little vacuum pump, and that's going to get a lot of these bubbles out anyway. After I mixed it up, I like to put me some clear tape up around the top of it, and all that is just a little extra, because when you pull the vacuum, it's going to bring all these bubbles up to the top, bubble, and so that'll help keep it from foaming over too quick. So again, see my video about vacuum pumps and pressure chambers and all that stuff if you want to learn more about why that is and what that is and how that is and what it does and all that. Alright, so the problematic areas on this particular mold is going to be getting this silicone up into the little ball socket areas. We just going to have to kind of work with it. I will say that I like the viscosity of this particular silicone, and I do plan on using this a lot more in the future. Doing things like this is kind of tricky, and it's real tricky if you're trying to make a video about it and you got to work behind let's see, behind the camera. And then let's see, where's that? Alright, let's see that. So and again, we're just trying to get the bubbles out of the little shoulder socket, arm sockets. I like to cut me some little zigzags so that the mold can lock back together. If you don't want to scratch your original with your blade, what you can do is, as you cutting it, pull it away like that. See how you can pull it away from the object, and then you can cut while you're pulling away. Did I ever tell you about this? That's my pressure pot right there. And normally this is not designed for resin casting. It is for, you know, paint pressure for paint spray, spray and paint stuff. Anyway, it's got a curved bottom on the inside of it. So normally I had been putting me a board across it, a scrap piece of wood, a little 1 by 3/4 inch board across it. I said, but I'm just having that board, I'm not getting my maximum use of space. So let me show y'all what I did. I had some leftover industrial epoxy, like tabletop epoxy, and I mixed it and added me some silver mica powder, and I just dumped it in there. See that? Now what you're looking at, it looks crazy. It probably looks like it's all turbulence looking, bumpy looking, but it's not. It's actually glass is smooth across there. See that? Real smooth across there. But it's got a real neat look to it, you know. It's kind of It's kind of mesmerizing. Now I can just set my mold right down in there, and I can put me another mold. Anyway, you put some rubber bands on your mold to keep it closed, okay? Because you know we cut it, and this just keeps things closed. It is important not to double up and crank down and get them rubber bands on there too tight, because it can squeeze in and it would deform your plastic piece when it cures, okay? So don't over tighten your mold. And then on this one, I cut me a little notch in it. See that? And that little notch right there just tells me that the face, the eyeballs is facing this way, the hands go like that. So that tells me that whenever I first put my resin in it, I want to tilt it like that to let them bubbles kind of come out and up, hopefully. And then the pressure pot going to hopefully take care of the rest of the bubbles, but we'll see. And if it don't work, then we just end up doing this is probably the easiest way that you can do a mold right here. This kind of the I don't want to call it the laser way, but in some ways it can be good and it can give you good seam lines. But more than likely with a character complicated as this one with different parts, you would probably want to do a 2-part mold and control the seam lines and all that stuff. And it's easy taking it apart. You just, you ain't got the prize on it and all that. So just some little thoughts about molds and things. But let's mix us up some resin. We're going to try and replicate that gray color. We're going to call that clay gray right there. It ain't trademark, clay gray looking. And we're going to try to add some black and white. It's pretty cold out here in the workshop today. It is about 54 degrees. So this resin is not going to kick too fast. This is the hardener, this is the resin. And go ahead and mix in your colors. I want to put in some black. And then just a little bit of some white. One thing about doing doing YouTube videos is it really does it kind of messes with you a little bit, because you're having to work around a camera. And this particular shot that I have set up right here, my hands is reached around the camera, reached around the tripod. It's kind of awkward. It makes me feel like that movie, the one where the man was a ghost and came back and started doing pottery and things like that. Got into that as a hobby. But we got some level of graynicity. Always this the part that makes me a little bit nervous, because as soon as that A part and that B part start to connect, some chemistry starts happening, the relationship starts to take off, and things start to really connect. So you got to kind of move quickly with it. Anytime you get ready to pour your resin, take you some deep breaths. Just breathe slow. Mix it up good. Just stay calm, collected, and have fun. And I'm just kind of burping the mold right there. That's to get the air bubbles up out of it. Look at that, I might have just enough for my little dump mold right there. And then whenever that right there cured, then all the stuff in my pressure pot should be cured. I'm pretty excited, but a little bit still. Got some, well, let me just say the bad news first. The bad news is still a couple of bubble spots, but for the most part, it's kind of crazy to be holding a plastic articulated figure right there. Let's see if I can reach around. Let's see. I like the way they have his the snuggativity and the joints, you know. I like the way that if a thing kind of get crazy, he wants people to settle down. All he does, he just raise a hand like that. Hold on. Yeah, I'll settle down up in here. I really like the comedicness of this little figure. I don't know, something about it just kind of tickled me. But, you know, I don't know. That's pretty neat. I mean, I'm actually surprised that the ball joints worked out as good as they did. They could be better, but I mean, just for, you know, taking a stab at it, I could not test it until I did this right here. This is the first time I was able to go in and just put them ball joints together. I think I'm going to go in to my original and refine some things a little bit, some of the fits and things like that. But I mean, I'm probably going to do me a two-part mold instead of just, you know, a little one part and then cut into it mold. But that is an option if you don't want to do a two-part. But I think that, to be honest, I need to do a two-part mold on this little man right there. What do y'all think about that? I hope y'all enjoyed that, and maybe this have inspired you that it's possible to make your own plastic articulated action figures. And keep in mind that we're not finished on this. I took me an easy little stab at trying to, you know, cast me some parts, and so I'm going to do my molds better, do it the right way. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Please let me know what you thought. I try not to get long-winded in my video, but sometimes I just say to myself, Craftman, let's give these people some information that is useful to them. What is it? My hat ain't right? You got to tell me, baby. If my hat ain't right, none of this is right. All right. Cut. Hold up. I love y'all and keep steady crafting.